Alrighty guys, it's time for another hero here in our great tutorial series for Sentinels of the Multiverse. The Enhanced Edition. We'll eventually get to the Definitive Edition, don't you worry about that. But we got a lot of heroes to do before that. A lot of villains, a lot of environments. We're only on number 19, I believe. And this is a very interesting one. This is the Naturalist. He's all about changing forms between a crocodile, a rhinoceros, and a gazelle. And depending on which form he's in, his cards are going to do different things. So he's trying to pick the right form and, activating at the right time. And that's his whole gimmick, which is kind of an interesting gimmick. And let's see what he does and how he does it. Alright, there's the Naturalist. He doesn't have any group affiliations, and we will let you see his background information. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can of course pause it and watch it and read it later. Alright, he does have one variant that we will show you with a little bit of information as well. Alright, now it's time to show you the cards, and the Naturalist starts with 29 hit points. Transform, search your deck on trash for a form and put it into play. If you searched your deck, shuffle your deck. And of course, when he's knocked out, 1 hero may use a power, destroy an ongoing card, or until the start of your next turn, hero targets are immune to damage from environmental targets. So there you go. Yeah, pretty good artwork on that one as well. All right, and now let's look at his variants. We have the Naturalist, 27 hit points. Desperate Play, select Crocodile, Gazelle, or Rhino until the end of your turn. You may activate the icon's effects. Either draw or play a card. And flip it over. One player may draw a card, one player may play a card, and the environmental target with the highest hit points deals each non-hero target 2 melee damage. Alright, so that is his only variant that I've unlocked. Again, I'm not sure if they have other ones that you have to unlock through playing games in the system or not, but so 10, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18 different cards in his deck. So he's got a nice bit of variety. And of course, he's going to get a lot of variety because depending on which form he's going to be in, he's going to activate certain abilities on the cards. There is Bestial Shift. 3 copies of this card. It's a one-shot. If you're in Gazelle, the Naturalist regains 3 hit points and may use a power. If he's in Rhino, reduce damage dealt to the Naturalist by 1 until the start of your next turn. And if he's in Crocodile, the Naturalist deals 1 target 3 toxic damage and may use a power now. 3 copies. You can see right off the bat. Lots of variations of which form he's in. It's going to do different things. So 2 copies of Blend into the Pack. Ongoing limited. The first time the Naturalist would take damage each turn, reduce that damage by the number of environmental targets in play. Which makes, cool sense. He's blending in to the environments, so he's going to take less damage. Cool. 2 copies of that card. It's an ongoing limited card. Cornered Beast, ongoing. Crocodile form. If there are more non-hero targets than hero targets, increase damage dealt by the Naturalist by 1. And then it has a power, destroy a target with 3 or fewer hit points. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. Obviously, this is just for a crocodile form, but still. We have Crafty Assault, 1 shot. There is 3 copies in this. 1 shot. The Naturalist deals up to 3 targets, 2 melee damage each. And then in Gazelle form, you may destroy up to 2 ongoing cards. And there he is in Gazelle form with this little symbol on there. And yeah, so destroying ongoing cards, we've talked about how important that could be. And, 3 targets, 2 melee damage is nothing to sneeze at either. That's a pretty good card. All right, next card, 2 copies of Environmental Allies. Reduce damage dealt to environment targets by 1. And then if he's in Gazelle form, hero targets are immune to damage dealt by environment targets. It's an ongoing card as long as he's in Gazelle form. No damage by environmental targets. That can be huge. Depending on the environment you're playing against. Next up, Fertile Fury. 3 copies of this card. It's a one-shot. The Naturalist deals 1 target 2 melee damage, and then if he's in Crocodile form, the Naturalist deals 1 target 2 toxic damage. So very nice. If he's in Crocodile form, he's going to be dealing, 2 different attacks there. Pretty decent damage. It's a one-shot, 3 copies. Not bad. Hyperactive Senses. 2 copies of this card. It's a one-shot. Reveal the top 2 cards of any deck. Put them back on top of their decks in any order. And then in Gazelle form, you may discard the top card of any 2 decks. So you can see what's coming and you can program it, and then you can discard it if you don't like what's coming, which is super, super good. Only 2 copies though, unfortunately. Indomitable Force, ongoing. Reduce damage dealt to the Naturalist by 1. At the start of your turn, destroy this card. And then in Rhino form, whenever damage would be dealt to a hero target, redirect it to the Naturalist. So he is protecting everyone, at least for 1 round anyways. And he's going to be doing some little bit of damage reduction. 1 point is not a lot to write home about, to be honest. And having only 29 hit points is not the greatest, but there are other squishier characters which, would love to have someone take the damage for him. So that's nice. 2 copies of Natural Born Vigor, ongoing limited card. You may use an additional power on your turn. At the start of your turn, the Naturalist may regain 4 hit points. If he does, destroy this card. Wow, use an additional power on your turn. Most characters, every character out there would love this. And he gets it for free. It's not like Knife. We just looked at Knife 2 episodes ago. She was dealing herself 3 or 4 damage to be able to play power on her turn. He gets to do it for free and then heal for 4 hit points? He will destroy the card, but good God, this is OP. This is why he is so much better character. All right, 2 copies of Natural Forms Power, ongoing. And you just put it into play, and then you have a new power. Gazelle, 1 player draws 2 cards. Rhino, the Naturalist regains 2 hit points, and Crocodile, the Naturalist deals up to 2 targets 1 toxic damage each. Next up, 3 copies of Primal Charge. It's a one-shot. Gazelle, draw 4 cards. Rhino, the Naturalist deals 1 target 2 melee damage, and Crocodile, the Naturalist deals 1 target 3 melee damage. So a little bit of damage or drawing a lot of cards. 3 copies, not bad. Resilient Hide, ongoing. Whenever exactly 1 damage would be dealt to the Naturalist, prevent that damage. And then at Rhino, at the start of your turn, the Naturalist regains 1 hit point. Boom, boom. Nice. Shifter's Strength, 1 shot. Discard any number of cards. You may draw cards as many cards as you discarded this way, and then play a card. So 6 cards, discard them, draw 6, play a card. Awesome. You don't like what you have, or you're looking for one of the form cards or whatever. The Deadly Croc. This is an ongoing form card. There's only 1 copy. When this card enters play, it destroys all other forms, so you can only be in 1 form at a time. Increase damage dealt by the Naturalist by 1. When you're a Crocodile, you're going to do more damage. And then you may activate all your Crocodile effects. And then power, the Naturalist deals 1 target 2 melee damage. There you go. Next up, the Formidable Rhinoceros. Again, just 1 copy of this form, ongoing form. When this card enters play, destroy all other form cards. Reduce damage dealt to the Naturalist by 1. And you may activate all your Rhino effects. Draw 2 cards. Last but not least, the Nimble Gazelle, ongoing form. When this card enters play, destroy all other form cards. You may activate Gazelle powers, and the Naturalist regains 3 hit points. Again, only 1 copy of this, the Crocodile and the Rhino. So you have to find them, although you don't necessarily need to, because again, his power, his main power is just go find it and put it into play. The Predator's Eye, 1 shot. Increase damage dealt to 1 target by 1 until the start of your next turn. So if a lot of people are tagging up on the villain or whatever. And then in Crocodile form, you may draw up to 2 cards. The Naturalist deals 1 target X melee damage, where X is equal to 3 minus the number of cards drawn this way. Alright, Predator's Eye, there's 3 copies of that card. Last card, Threatening Stomp, 1 shot. The Naturalist deals 1 target, 4 melee damage, pretty decent. And in Rhino form, damage dealt by a target damaged this way is redirected to the Naturalist until the start of your next turn. Start that again. The Naturalist deals 1 target, 4 damage, and then damage dealt by a target damaged this way is redirected to the net. Oh, so he will retaliate against if he's in Rhino form. Right, I got it. Okay. And 2 copies of that card. So there you go. That is pretty good. And that is what he does. He does lots of cool stuff. It's all about figuring out which form you want to be in, sticking to that form, because you don't want to be switching forms all the time, because switching forms is using up your power just to switch forms. But if you can figure out which form you need, normally, you know, if you want to do less, take less damage in the beginning of the game, you want to be in Rhino form, or if you want to draw more cards and get more healing, you want to be in Gazelle form. And then later in the game, you want to do more damage, you want to be in Crocodile form. So you want to, you know, just get to the right form for the right situation and hope that you don't have to keep switching out. That's the problem he runs into, because it costs him his very important power, which doesn't do any damage or anything. All it does is allow him to switch forms, which is a great ability to have, but it takes up his power. So you want to get into a form and kind of stick to it, so it kind of takes the coolness away a little bit from him, if that makes sense, because it's like, oh, I can switch forms, but then I don't get to do anything cool until next turn. And then the next turn comes up and you're like, oh, shoot, I got to heal, so I got to switch into the Gazelle form. And then, you know, you're constantly fighting this cycle. So while he sounds really cool and really interesting with all these super cool powers, for me, it just seems like I'm always fighting the cycle of, oh, I wish I was in Gazelle form, and oh, I wish I was in Crocodile form, and oh, I wish I was in Rhino form. Why am I in this? And then I'm constantly switching forms to try and get to the right form. And you know, if you can kind of work with the system as opposed to against the system, you might really, really like him. I think he's really cool. I enjoy trying him and I enjoy playing him, and at least he's interesting. He has his cool mechanics. He has all these cool powers. It's just trying to make sure you're not screwing yourself and being in the wrong form at the wrong time. Oh, I'm going to be doing a lot of damage and I'm in Gazelle form. Oh, Jesus. Or, oh, I'm taking a lot of damage and I'm in Crocodile form. Oh, my God. You know, it's always like something like that's going on. But he's super cool, super interesting, very easy to play. He's not very difficult. It's, again, the difficulty is just trying to figure out and calculating, okay, this guy, the villain's going to be targeting me this turn. Maybe I want to be in Rhino form, or I don't care how much damage he's going to do because I'm going to try and take out his minions, and I'm being in crocodile form. So making sure you kind of min-max your turns and getting in the right form and making sure you're prepared for what's going to happen that turn. But he can do some awesome environmental things, which can really, depending on which of all the characters we've come across, like the environment is always like a third. Oh, we'll just select this. Oh, we'll just try this. Or, oh, we'll throw this environment out there. Well, with the Naturalist, you really have to think about what the environments are, because you can nullify them into the ground. You can make extremely hard environments very easy by having the right cards in play. And so you can make those environments, you can play much tougher environments because he might be able to actually turn the environments into allies. So, he can definitely, whichever environment you're playing with, you want to make sure you think about how is it going to interact with the Naturalist. Couldn't think of his name there for a second. Yeah, the Naturalist. This guy. It's like I said, it sounds super cool and it is kind of cool, but you gotta figure out which form you're gonna be in. Try and stay in that form for a couple, 2-3 turns. Don't constantly change forms. Just try and get in a good form that's going to help get you what you need, either cards or some healing or some defenses or whatever. Then get set up with some of your other cards, get some nice card drawing, and you have a good time playing him. He's a pretty interesting character. He does some cool things. He's pretty decent. He's got a little bit of healing that helps himself. He can definitely nerf the environment targets if you're having a tough time with them. You can turn them into allies for you guys, and then he can do some healing for himself, and then he can turn into crocodile form and do a lot of extra damage. So he's got a lot of variability. So if you like characters that can really, fix and change the environment and really kind of meld in with other heroes out there, I think the Naturalist is a good one to try. And he's not as difficult. It's just making sure you're in the right form at the right time, which I can't ever get. So hopefully you'll do better than I will. You can just see his one shot here. Regaining 3 hit points, great. Reducing damage done, or doing extra damage and playing an extra power. I mean, those are all 3 are great powers. You got 3 copies of this card. So you got a lot of variability and a lot of cool things you can do. Just get in the right form. Make sure you're sitting pretty, and then if not, you can always use your power to transform into a different power. All right, that is the Naturalist. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you would, just hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody, and have a great night.